Hello there, doctors. Welcome to our podcast, Dr. Boston. Today's episode, we're going to show you another strategy on how to increase your hourly rate, not working in the office, but by virtual. We're going to talk about virtual workshop and how you can really monetize from that. So I'm Dr. Ann Trump.
I'm Dr. Michael Ming, and virtual workshops is a powerful income stream for physician entrepreneurs. If you know how to talk, if you know how to communicate, if you want to generate, I think it's one of the best ways to generate income and increase your hourly rate by doing a virtual workshop. We've had myself and our clients have generated four figures, even five figures an hour by doing a virtual workshop. You're going to have more people know you, like you, and trust you. And I think it's the best way, one of the best ways that you can really increase your revenue by doing a virtual workshop.
Absolutely. And we not only do workshop between me and Mike, I also do workshop to bring patient into my practice as well. And all you need is a laptop, a camera, and a microphone. And you can even use this. This is a great equipment as well to start a workshop. So it's very, very easy to do, but yet sometimes doctors get bogged down. Oh, how do I do this? So the opportunity is to think like when you go to the conference, instead of doing it at a conference, now you're doing it online delivery. And when you're doing workshop, it position you as the expert and give you credibility, and you have the recording as an asset to sell as a course later, or to even use it for publishing on social media such as YouTube or Instagram. And it's easy for people to attend the workshop. And if you do the workshop live, especially on YouTube, it becomes evergreen, meaning it's there forever for people to see. I have some live workshop that I did that I recorded. It's on YouTube. It was like 3 years ago, and it's still there on my channel. It's still getting views, and it's still getting leads from that as well. So think of it as not just one time and done, but if you record it, you can definitely use it as an asset to get new leads in, but to also be a content production in your channel.
Yeah, and this all changed, once COVID happened. It kind of exploded. We were all hunkered down. Most of us were in quarantine, and we realized it's like the only way that we can communicate is online. And so it actually now has become commonplace for not only people to attend for free, workshops that you can use as a lead magnet, but for paid live workshops and then paid recordings on in there. And the barrier to entry is super easy. As I mentioned, you just need a webcam, which is all laptops, a decent speaker, some headphones, and you're ready to go. What's going to be valuable is what you have between your ears here. It's the mindset that we call now the knowledge economy. Right here, you want to be able to leverage expertise, but then package it in a way that can be easily digestible, that you can share with others. And as Ann says, you can use it for your own practice to get new patients coming in. You can use it as simply just using it as a paid model. It could be a 90-minute session, a 60 to 90-minute session, or even more. I think, Ann, you said you were just listening on that 4-hour workshop. And then you can charge for that too. You can charge $47, $97, $497, even more on there. You can have a combination of a hybrid workshop where maybe you charge low, like maybe say $27, $47. But then when they get on the call, you've got an audience who over the last 60 or 90 minutes has listened to you. You've established your expertise. And then maybe you're going to promote a higher ticket offer. That could be a coaching program, services. It could be a mastermind. So what are some ways, Ann, that you've used virtual workshops?
Wow, a lot, but I have used for my office virtual workshop as a way to get leads in. When I say lead, they're not my patient yet. I just get their email and their name and their number, and then I get leads in. So every time we do a workshop, we will get at least a couple hundred leads. But remember, this is just maybe 1 or 2 hours of your time that you're doing this, but you're getting people into your world that you can now talk to on your email platform, that you send emails every day. For me, that is valuable because when they're in my world, then I can talk to them about I deliver value, but I also deliver an ask, which is called a call to action to either sign up for another workshop, sign up for my supplement, or come to the office, or sign up for my coaching program. If you're doing a workshop, start with the end in mind. So you're doing a workshop, just know what you are gonna be pitching or targeting at the end. Oh no, we're doing a workshop, so and we can make money, right? If we're not doing a workshop, just doing a workshop, yes, it's different than giving a talk at a medical conference, right? But when you're doing a virtual workshop, just know what is the end in mind. What are you going to do? You're going to sell into another coaching program? Is it buying a course, or is it joining a group coaching program, or is it a one-to-one intensive? From there, reverse engineer and design the content of your workshop to lead into the goal that you want. So a lot of times, it's the basic things about marketing and doing a workshop is that you present the problem, and then you agitate the problem, meaning that how hard it is for them to get the answer and the mistake that people make. And then you present your solution to the problem that makes sense. And then that's how you lead them to whatever service or product that you want to sell. It's really that easy. The problem, the agitation, and then the solution. I have used workshop to actually pitch people to our $15,000 treatment program in the office, where we would have them sign up for a sales call that we talk with our sales team. They don't literally schedule an appointment in my office. We have to talk to the sales team, but I literally have signed people up. If I convert 10% of them to office treatment, that's a win. And I have done where I pushed to join my group coaching program for men with ED. We've done that. And then I have done one where I pitch a course that we actually priced for $1,000. So if you're going to do a workshop, you want to at least pitch for something that is between 500 to 5,000. I have done it for pitch for a 15,000 program. Now, I wouldn't do that as a 1 hour thing. If I'm going to pitch something for 15,000, I would probably do a 5 day challenge, which is also a workshop. It's just that it's over multiple days. Now, Mike and I have done a challenge in the past, and we've also now switched to a workshop. Now, workshop is also similar to a webinar, which is a one-time delivery. But just know there is a formula for the workshop and the webinar. It's not just showing up and talking about it. There's definitely a formula where you craft your introduction, your credibility, deliver the content, and then tie into your solution called the stack. So I have done it, and Mike and I will actually be doing webinar next week, actually, to talk about how we can help doctors get out of the hamster wheel and leverage their medical expertise online, like we are doing right now. And I'm going to share strategies. What I learned from the best marketer in the world right now is Alex Hormozy. I signed up to a program, $24,000, to learn from him within the next 6 months. And I'm going to distill it and how you can use it in your practice. And that makes sense.
I can't wait for that too. I've used virtual workshops or webinars, and again, these words are interchangeable, to generate leads. So I ran an anti-aging practice. We've used it to go out to the community, and then free virtual workshops for about hormone optimization. I've used it in my online business on various different topics that I'm sure some of you had seen, like AI, build a physician coaching program that led into my physician coaching course. So there's lots of different ways. When you are planning, your virtual workshop, first thing you want to do is pick a focused topic. It should be something that is keeping them up at night. I mean, that's kind of, we talked about in the past. What do you sell? And I had a guru many years ago when I asked him, he was a multimillionaire, and he said, what are the products that you sell? Because, he was very underground, did a lot of things on eBay and online. And I said, what do you sell? Oh, he told me, and he said, I sell what people want to buy. I thought that was a answer for that. So the problems that people have right now that are keeping them up at night. So for my practice, it may be literally they're having hot flashes, and that's keeping my female patients is keeping them up. Maybe they're concerned about their taxes. Maybe they're concerned about how to put food on the table, how to increase the revenue. Focus on a topic that people will want. I had one doctor virtual workshop, and it was on breast cancer prevention, which great the topic. But the problem was nobody really showed up because people weren't interested in prevention, at least for the audience that she was going after. It was not a problem. It's like, oh well, that's something I can think of later. So prevention is very difficult to sell. Think about something that is a problem for them right now and works with gentlemen who have problems with erectile dysfunction. That is keeping them up. No pun
Mhm.
intended. And,
Absolutely.
maybe they had a bad outcome with their loved one, and now they're saying, they're embarrassed, and now they're looking for help on there. So pick something that is for your audience that is keeping them up. And do you want to add anything to that?
Yeah, as you were talking, something came up in my mind that says that give them what they're looking for. Oftentimes, yeah, as doctors, we want to teach them what we think will help, but oftentimes you got to give them what they want first. And it can be a simple topic as like if you want to pitch your weight loss program, just say, how to lose weight without starving yourself or exercise. And you want to make it enticing, but not go deep dive because when you deliver too much information, you actually lose the audience. Because again, you listen to this podcast, know that how to do the formatting of the webinar or the workshop is present the problem. How hard is the problem for them to solve it? You want to make it so that's why I could agitate the pain. How hard it is for them to try to do it themselves. They could. You deliver the content, say, these are the stuff you need to do. But they want to work with you because they want to implement it. Then that's when you offer the solution to help them implement that. So it's a very strategic format that you do, that you insert your solution as the bridge for them to get to their desired outcome. And that is the one thing that I want to stress. And you don't need anything fancy. You can just use Zoom. Make sure you get a paid account because your free account for Zoom is you're only allowed to have 45 minutes and you get cut out. But paid account is probably $20 a month. You can definitely invest in that. About charge with some price in mind that it end with a seven. There's something about studying marketing that if a price ends with seven, it's more attractive than a price that ends with a nine or a zero. So, you can charge. Now, don't want to charge too low because when you charge too low, people will say, it's probably not worth it. But you want to charge something that people has invested so that way they will show up. And when it's funny, when we do a webinar, sometimes we'll charge like $27 and we'll get like a 90% show up versus charging $97 because you just want them to show up to hear your content and your pitch. Don't think that's a webinar as a way to make money per se. It would be nice if you can just be neutral as a way to indoctrinate people that normally wouldn't listen to you and also add them to your list because you will probably not sell to 90% of the people. In the marketing world, conversion at 10% is pretty good from the people that show up. And the numbers are usually, people sign up, 50% will show up. And then from there, you convert between 10%. That's actually really good. But everyone that sign up, you have them as a lead. For me, a lead is a lot more valuable for me as well. And I kind of want to stress on this, and Mikey, feel free to add in, is that the hardest part about having a workshop and how to make it productive is that you got to let people know what you're doing. You got to let people know. You got to scream at the top of your head. And sometimes it's hard for doctors to do that. We're very humble. We don't promote ourselves, but you got to send email to your list. You got to post it on LinkedIn, post it in every social media platform that you have and let people know what you do. Essentially, you want to get in front of your audience and scream out. Now, my first workshop that I did, I had one person sign up and show up. You know who that is? That's my husband. Wow. And I've done a workshop where I have hundreds of people show. I think the maximum we had was about 300 show up. But my first workshop, I know I had like at least maybe 20 sign up, but only one person show up. That was my husband. But that's okay. Act as if you have 1,000 that show up because I did the workshop anyway. It was good practice for me, but then I use it as an asset. So that I learn and I pivot the next time to make it better and make it better and make it better. And Mike and I we've done at least probably 10 together, at least in the past year and a half. And we kind of know how this works. So that's the one that I want to stress is that when you're doing the workshop, don't over teach. That's the number one mistake that doctors do is over teach too much. When you teach people too much, you overwhelm them and then they just tune out. Because there's a phrase in marketing, a confused customer is a non-buyer. That's so true. I feel it in myself too. When I'm lost at what the product or the service do, I just tune out. I'm like, oh, I'm not gonna do anything at all. But if I know exactly what the service and the product does, I'm gonna buy. And I don't know about you, Mike, but I'm an emotional buyer. What about you?
Oh, too much. So I just bought something yesterday that was like $400 and was a yearly membership, and I didn't wake up to buy that. I didn't even
Well,
know about it, and yeah,
well, how many times have you bought a course that you don't even go in and consume, and then you find out, oh, I
yeah.
paid for that years ago.
Oh, yeah, that happens all the time, and I find out a year later when they renew it. That's how I find it.
You find out a year later. Yeah, so let's go into the common mistakes and what to avoid.
Yeah, I think, you hit it on the head is over delivering, or not over delivering, but over coaching or over teaching on there. Another way that the other extreme is just being too broad on a topic. Let's say you're a surgeon and you talked about everything about plastic surgery you want to know. They came in for a specific problem and they're looking for you for a solution. So give them a specific solution. Secondly, you want to treat it like a lecture, like you're teaching. You're just like many of our physicians friends are teachers at heart on here. We like to teach on here. I see sometimes where like, hey, let's just get on a call, and then it just gets a free for all, and then they let their audience become the teachers. That's not what it's all about, guys. There are times when you have that for this, but that's not the goal of a virtual workshop. The goal is for you to be established as the expert. That is the goal. If you're having lots of people become mini experts, nobody's gonna to follow you. And along those lines, you need to have a clear call to action, CTA, call to action. What do you want them to do after the call? Do you want them to call your office and set up an appointment? Do you want them to purchase your coaching program? Do you want them to download your app? What is it? Have a clear call to action. I've seen some where they have like 10 call to actions. That again, you hinted on that. A confused customer isn't going to buy. And those are some of the common things that I noticed. Anything you want to add to that?
No, I think a one call to action is one thing. And just know that when we work with doctors and coach with doctors, that sometimes simplifying the content is a better sell than making it or giving too much. It's just simplifying, distill to like maybe one or two things. The king of webinar is, as you know, it's our coach, it's Russell Brunson. He only talk about three secrets. He called it three secrets. And the three things that they need to know, and then present his solution as the solution to those problems. So just three things. Just think about three things that you can present as the problem, and then you offer your call to action at the end as that solution. And sometimes it's hard to kind of think about that, but it's all very, very strategic. And it does take some finesse over time because remember, repetition is king to become really good at something. Like Alex Moses said, do more, 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 more. And that's how you become the expert. And once you do more, then you do better and make things better. I had a coaching session with him actually yesterday. I got on a call with him and he said, and now is your time to do better. He tells me that I need to do better now on my YouTube channel and my content. And then the third thing, don't do anything new. So if it doesn't work, it doesn't mean that you need to do anything new. You just need to do more repetition, more repetition. My coach, Russell Brunson, said that if you do a webinar or a workshop every week for a whole year, you won't have to worry about your paycheck. And so
I
that
love
is so true. Yeah. Remember he
I
said
love I love that too, and I think it works great for your audience because I know you guys. You guys are perfectionists. Many of you are, and it just has to be perfect. It has to be, everything has to be right. I've got to, spend thousands of dollars on a room just for a virtual. I need to have the best camera. I need to have the best audio on it. Those are all great, good things. But at the end, you just need to be able to do it. It doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to be good enough. It's not going to be perfect the first time around. I could tell you horror stories on my first virtual, workshop. I didn't have the audio on. And nobody could hear me, and the PowerPoint was off, and we still do those. The thing is, we just move forward. Nobody's going to remember. Hopefully, they're not going to remember. We've done it ourselves on there. And I've done hundreds of different webinars. There's always something that happened. It just has to be good enough. At the end, they're paying you to show you that you're the expert. And then say you're the expert at doing webinars, but you're the expert on that particular topic. And that's what your audience wants.
Right. And don't get bogged down on the tech stuff. Zoom, get your content out and deliver. Don't get down on that. But the number one thing I want to stress is that you need to promote. If you don't promote, you're not going to be able to have the audience to talk to. But promotion is the most important thing. Promotion is actually really marketing. My coach is that promotion is the one thing you need to focus on if you want to go virtual and sell online. So let's look at the numbers. Okay. Let's say for one day, if you're going to do a workshop and you have 50 people show up, and let's say you charge 197, then for one day, for 1 hour, maybe 90 minutes, you're making about roughly $10,000 for maybe 90 minutes. And if you have 100 people there and you only convert 10% of them to a 3,000, let's say, coaching program or intensive, that's 30,000. So I ran a webinar one time where I sell a $5,000 one-to-one coaching intensive for 30 minutes. I call it a Chinese challenge. 30 minutes with me, one-on-one, $5,000. And I converted 20 of them. So that's a pretty good paycheck. 5,000 times 20. How much is that, Mike?
That's
And
100,000.
yeah, for about 90 minutes.
I love it.
Yeah. Yeah, for 90 minutes online. Now, taken for granted, I have 145,000 YouTube subscribers. Our email list is 25,000 email list. Very, very warm email list. And I promote this like crazy. I was usually the promotion runway for a workshop. It's about 10 days before you launch. You don't want to launch it too early. People will forget. And then you would launch it just enough to stay top of mind. But this is the secret here. Listen to this. Lean in, listen. When you do a workshop, 50% of the people that sign up for your workshop will be the last 48 to 24 hours. Okay. Don't be frustrated if you don't see a lot of sign up like a couple of days before. We've done multiple workshops, Mike and I, is that we see about 50% of the people that usually sign up are at usually the 24 to 48 hour before the launch. So you think about it, for me, for 90 minutes, I got $100,000 paycheck. If you were going to charge a 3,000 program, that's $30,000 paycheck. So sometimes as doctors, it's hard for us to imagine doing something like that. But like Mike said, this is your gold mine. What is in between our ears and the years that we spent sacrificing in med school and residency training and in clinical practice is very, very valuable. I mean, if you're a cardiologist, you can figure out what to do with a patient with CHF within 3 minutes. But for some people, it will take a lifetime for them what they need to do. So I feel sometimes doctors don't value what their knowledge is worth to people. And we need to really leverage that and appreciate that. Anything else, Mike?
Thanks for staying with us, guys. I'd like to give you guys a challenge, action steps where you can get started. So this week, I want you to choose your virtual workshop topic. What is your topic that you're going to do? Find out what are the problems for your target audience. What are the problems that are keeping them up at night? That should be your next topic. Second is I want you to set a date over the next month, within the next 30 days. Set a date when you're going to do it, and you got to stick to that. Decide if you want to do a free virtual workshop or if you want to get paid on it. Either one, there's pros and cons to each. We've gone over it. And finally, what is your offer? What is your next step? What are you going to do? You've got a captive audience. They're going to be listening and watching what you have to say. What are you going to be offering them on there? So I'd love for you to do that, and then let us know what are the results of that. We'd love to hear it.
You can do it. Don't try to make it perfect. It's like done is better than perfect. So having said that, join our school group called Doctors Online Success, Doctors with the S, doctorsonlinesuccess.com. It's where we give you actually information on how to market, how to get out of the hamster wheels and really leverage your medical expertise online. Mike and I are passionate in teaching doctors strategy on how to leverage their medical expertise online. So go to that group, Doctors Online Success, and join. And we're going to go in there and deliver value for you all, because I think that a marketing is something that can be learned and that you can use in your practice right away. In fact, my coach Alex, he gave me 5 strategies. I implemented one already, and we're starting to see an ROI already within the last week. And that strategy was 5 call to action you can put on your YouTube to exponential, get more views and call to action and get leads. And in fact, we should do that as our next topic. If you have a YouTube channel and you're not making money yet, you're not getting the leads that you want, and we will do that as our next topic. The 5 things you need to do right now that will immediately increase your leads and get more views. So, having said that, Doctor, I hope that you like this episode, and make sure that you subscribe and click notification. We're just new to this channel, and we hope to get more of you involved. And let us know if you want us to discuss about a certain topic. Put in the comment. If you're listening to this, subscribe and go to Doctors Online Success. So remember, you are just not a doctor, you are a doctor boss.
Thanks, guys. Take care.